Chromebook, we close it. And second, if you didn't hear me say this last week, I have a tentative time for the Unit 2 exam, and I said it was going to be the week of November 3rd. I think it's probably going to be Wednesday the 5th, so just like kind of mark your calendars, do what you need to do to prepare for that. And that is subject to change at the moment, so I think that's the most likely thing. And then one quick announcement about AP Classroom, and that's hit or miss right now in terms of getting access, but those of you who have already done the homework for today, just know that what I'm looking for is for you to score your own work. So when you do the AP Classroom stuff, don't do the screenshot where it says open for scoring or awaiting scoring. Find the score and then turn it in. And that's not, for me, it's not going to affect your grade or anything. I just want you to know how you did. I want you to see and get a feel for how you do and how things change over time. And the average score, so a bunch of people had already turned it in when I looked last night. And I would say the average score was probably around 7 or 8 out of 12. So that's normal, that's good. Yeah, when you get, that means some of you will have gotten less and some of you got more, but that's typical. And one of our jobs is going to be to prepare you for the way that it feels to miss a bunch of questions. Because some of you have never had that experience. You always get stuff right, and it's a really different vibe when you're not getting things right. So we'll talk about that. And once Canvas comes back to life. And then there's a bunch of things that are due. There was an AP Classroom assignment due today. I changed that due date to Wednesday because Canvas isn't working. There is a homework assignment that I was going to assign for Wednesday, changing that due date to Friday, but if you can do it, you should. It's an AP Classroom assignment. It's sections 2.4 through 2.6. It's going to be a lot, but it's not a ridiculous amount, like 10 or 12 multiple choice questions. That's where we're going to start moving toward more and more test practice, because that's part of what I need to prepare you for, is the reality that is the AP exam itself. But I'm moving the due date. The official due date will be Friday, just because Canvas is down, AP Classroom has been on and off, and it's not worth the hassles. And then the other thing that was due today were those presentations, those collaborative presentations that I had you working on with that were about cell membranes, transport, and stuff like that. So I'm changing that due date to Wednesday as well, because some of you have already turned it in, but we're going to still work on it. So it's not, you don't have to do it till Wednesday. It's just do the work, and then you're not going to be able to turn it in. So those are the announcements, and I think I hit everything, but I don't know, because as it turns out, basically, I now use Canvas as my to-do list. So I have no idea what we're supposed to do on a daily basis without Canvas in front of me, and I didn't really realize that until today. It's kind of well, I kind of like it, actually. I like that I use it as an organization tool, and I'm kind of enjoying not having that there. It's it's okay. Everything's fine. We don't need Canvas. We don't need any of this stuff. 30 years ago, I would have been teaching you with literally a piece of chalk and a chalkboard. That's what I used to do, and it was okay. People learn, so we can do this. Here are your tasks for the day. The first, we need to take care of our potatoes, and the potatoes. What we need to do is rinse them off, and then gently blot them dry, and record the mass. When you do this, you might notice two things. One, they're both gross. One is that they might start to smell. And I don't have a great sense of smell, so I'm not smelling it, but if some of you probably, does it smell funny in here? Does anybody notice? Yeah, so that's good. Sometimes when we leave them in those sucrose solutions for too long, they start to decompose anaerobically, and those bacteria produce all these sulfur compounds that really smell bad. So you'll notice it a little bit. You'll notice it when you're back there today, but hopefully it won't be too bad. The other thing is, especially in the 1 molar solution, the potatoes might be starting to disintegrate, so you have to be really careful. When you rinse them off, you don't turn the water on full blast and then put the potatoes under, because it'll just like erode them away. So just put on a little trickle of water and just like gently rinse, and then blot them dry and find the mass. And some of you have done this or something like it before. Ultimately, what we're going to do, we'll set this up on Wednesday. We'll do this work on Wednesday because we can't do it today. But you're going to use class data. And what you'll be plotting is the percent change in mass of your potatoes for 0 molar, 0.5 molar, and 1.0 molar solutions. And you're going to use error bars and everything. You're going to do it by hand. So it's like this is the kind of stuff that you might need to do on an AP exam. And what we should see is something like this. We should see that the potatoes in the 0 solution got a little heavier. They should have absorbed water through osmosis, and we'll talk more about this down the road. It's likely, if we mix our solutions even close to correctly, that the 0.5 molar would have gotten a little bit lighter. They should have lost some mass, and the 1.0 should have lost the most mass. And this essentially is going to allow us to take a stab at determining what the molarity of the potatoes themselves is. What solution would we need to put them in so that they didn't gain or lose mass? That has to do with osmosis and tonicity, and I'm going to be talking to you all about that on Friday. So you'll do your lab report and like get a bunch of stuff prepared on Wednesday, and then we'll go over the details of osmosis and how it works on Friday. So that's where we're going with this. And then the next thing I want you to do is, we'll come back to cleanup in a second, but the next thing I want you to do is to go back to that active, or to the cell membrane and transport research. And what I asked you to do on Friday was get started making 2 slides about one of those 3 research topics, and then I said over the weekend finish it up. And I know a bunch of you did that because I saw last night that was the case. And for today, what I want you to do is first, I want you individually to go find the other individuals who studied your research topic. So if you were doing active transport pumps, go find a couple other people who did active transport pumps and talk to them about what you discovered, and make sure everybody's on the same page. It's not so much that you all have to have the exact same information, or that somebody's like, all of you need to have the same pictures, but you should, if there's contradictions, figure out what's correct. And then once you've done that, I'm thinking like 10 minutes each, then you'll talk to the other people in your group. So we're not going to do a stand-up formal presentation to the whole class, but in your little group, what I want you to do is just chat with everybody else and tell them what you discovered. And they'll tell you what they discovered. You all have access to the presentation because it was shared, which means you've all got that information. On Wednesday, I'm going to go through all of that, but I'm going to do it really quickly. I'm not gonna explain it like you don't know it. I'm going to explain it as if you do know it already. It doesn't mean that you can't ask questions, because I want you to, but it means that don't expect to come in here and just really have no idea what's going on and then leave being fully informed. Come in here with a really good working understanding of the research that you and your group did on your presentation. And then I'll do my spiel, and if there's something that doesn't quite fit, you can ask. Somebody asked last class, somebody asked a great question, for example, about secondary active transport, which some of you probably saw and some of you probably didn't, and I'll talk about that in class on Wednesday. And then once you've done that, then we'll move to cleanup. And this is at the end, but it's asterisk. So basically the idea is if you are using your class time and working really hard and you just like barely finish up talking to each other, then just go and have a great afternoon. To the extent that you have time to do anything extra, you could maybe clean up a little bit. But the big thing that has to happen before we start talking is we gotta get rid of those potatoes and dump the solutions out and like wash them down the drain. So there are compost bins right around the corner, right by the cafeteria. They're just big yard waste bins. So all of your potato pieces can go in there, and then all your solutions in your cups can go down the drain. You can rinse out the cups and leave them on the counter, unless they're just trashed, in which case you can throw them away. And then just make sure that you like dump some water down the drain to kind of wash that stuff through, because otherwise it starts smelling, and that's what we want to avoid. Ideally, we get all the smelly stuff and potentially smelly stuff out of the classroom by the end of the day today. And I think that's it. Ms. Jackson, I know you're focused on other stuff, but did I miss anything that you like leaps to your attention? Okay. All right, so you're not going to be able to turn anything in today, but like what I hope is, if you're not there already, that at some point in the next few weeks you'll start to realize it's really not the point. If you are like focused on thinking about stuff and learning, then everything else just kind of happens. And so I'll adjust due dates. You don't have to worry about anything. If Canvas comes online and you see a bunch of zeros suddenly appear, or like, don't worry about any of that. I can't change it now because Canvas is down, but I will. I'll get it all fixed. You don't have to panic about anything grade related about these assignments that were due this week. But I want you to still learn this stuff. So your job for today, get some potato masses, make sure you are feeling really good about the research you did, and then learn from the other members of your group about the work that they did, and then getting rid of smelly stuff and or everything that's necessary. Okay, let's go out there and weigh some potatoes.